Kopaka then returned to Kokoro, where he ran into Takua and Jaller, the two heralds of the seven Toa. Kopaka wasn't really in the mood when they tried to talk to him, but he noticed that Lee-Rock, Pan-Rock, and Goo-Rock were after them, so he thwarted them off as much as he can. He ended up throwing them into a lake and then freezing the lake, causing them to be trapped there, saving the two Ta-Matoran. He gave them some good advice before he left back to his own village. After witnessing a diminished Lawahi with Liwa and Tahu, Kopaka discovered that the nearby Matoran had been infected by Krata. Krata was what powered the Rakshi, and were the substance of Makuta himself. Kopaka decided to freeze the Matoran and would release them later. But then Liwa, Tahu, and Kopaka ran into two Rakshi Kaita. Although Kopaka made good ice walls to deflect their attacks, they had to run away from their aggressive foes. They underestimated them, and it was a big mistake that could have costed them their lives. When Onukoro was invaded by Vorak, Turak, and Kurak, Kopaka was pretty much the only one that was eligible to fight because Pohatu was hit by a fear blast from Turak, and Vorak absorbed most of Onua's energy. And when Tahu got there, Kurak got him with anger energy, causing Tahu to turn against his friends. Kopaka then lost his patience and froze Tahu right there. He would later take him back to the other Toa so that they would heal him. While Kopaka was still lost in Onukoro, he found Pohatu and Onua, and using his Akaku Nuva, he got them to Kiri Nui, where they would fight with the Toa Nuva to defeat the Rakshi once and for all. Once they defeated the Rakshi, they discovered that Takua was in fact the seventh Toa. He evolved into Takanuva, defeated Makuta, and they found the gates to the city of Metru Nui. Kopaka didn't return until 2008, when he donned on the adaptive armor given to the Toa Nuva by Artakha, and they flew over to Kardanui, where they would confront the Brotherhood of Makuta and save the Avmatoran and awake Matanui. Kopaka totally changed when he became a Fantoka. For one thing, although his color scheme was a bit of the same, his body totally changed shape. His kanoi changed shape, his eyes were lime instead of blue. I guess that was to symbolize that he was a good guy like Toa or Ramanui Admatoran and not red like Makuta. He also got a different weapon. His ice blade was replaced with a proto-steel blizzard blade, which looked like a total shrinky thing compared to other Toa tools. And even worse, it attached to his Midex Sky Blaster, which made it pretty much hardly usable unless you detached it. He was also equipped with a Mid-Axe Sky Blaster, a new weapon that was standard to the Toa Fantoka, to be a counterpart to the Troidax pod used by the Makuta Fantoka. Once the Toa Nuva arrived in Kardanui, the core of the universe, they met the Makuta and the Avmatoran. They then divided into two teams, the Fantoka that would protect the Matoran villages from the evil Makuta and the Shadow Matoran, and the Mystica, who are in charge of finding the keystones, assembling them to unlock the Codex. With the new Avmatoran attachment feature on the adaptive armor, Kopaka could team up with Solik to fly through the skies and defeat the evil Makuta. But the evil Makuta could also hook up to the Shadow Matoran. Unfortunately, Kopaka fell into the wrath of Vampra and his Kanoi Avza, the Mask of Hunger, which consumed most of Kopaka's power. him, Solak, Potok, and Pohatu ended up being hung at the bottom of Kardanui by shadow chains. But thankfully, Liwa came to save the day, and he released the two Abmatoran in Toa. During the battle for power, Solak revealed that he had one of the keystones, and that there were 5 more still scattered throughout Kardanui. One was in the hands of Kurop, a Shadow Matoran. One was in the hands of Makuta, and 3 more still had to be found. After hearing this, Kopaka kidnapped Kurop, and once he woke up, the Toa Nuva discussed an attack on the Shadow Leech hives. Kurop escaped, leading the Toa Nuva right to the hive, where they had to confront Mutran. Kopaka pretended to fall to Mutran's mental powers, then retaliated back and froze Mutran, scoring a victory. But Chirox and the other Makuta Fantoka came in and defeated Liwa and Kopaka, putting them imprisoned. But they were freed by Pohatu and the ultimate and most powerful possible Toa of all, Toa Ignika. Now that the Makuta had Ikarax on their side, they planned to take down the Avmatoran villages. Thankfully, the Toa Nuva Fantoka found the 3rd keystone and ambushed the Makuta in their lair. Kopaka had an intense fight with Antros, but when Toa Ignika defeated Ikarax, the Toa gained the upper hand and captured and weakened one of the Makuta. The Toa Nuva Fantoka then joined up with the Toa Nuva Mystica once again for the final battle against the evil Makuta. Takanuva appeared and drove Makuta off, giving the Toa enough time to read the keystones, put them in the Codex, and open it to reveal the source of all power. Deep inside the Codex, they found 3 battlecrafts: the XLR T9, the Jetrax T6, and the Rocco T3. Liwa piloted the XLR T9. Pohatu piloted the Rocco T3. But before Kopaka could enter the Jetrax T6, it was hijacked by Antros. While the Toa were still pursuing after the stolen battlecraft, Kopaka followed slowly behind, but stopped to pick up Radiak and give him to Takanuva. Kopaka was able to decrease the temperature in the Jetrax T6, but when the 2 battlecrafts started to collide into it, Antros disappeared. Kopaka was able to get into the vehicle and take off. He was able to save Takanuva from Biddle, but Takanuva was so full of rage that he ripped Kurop right off of Chirox's back. Kopaka then flew down and saved Kurop and scolded Takanuva on his reckless behavior. Then Biddle used his chain lightning power to knock out Takanuva and Kopaka. When Kopaka awoke, the energy storms started. He quickly got into the Jetrax T6 and escaped. With the Toa Nuva, Takanuva, and the rescued Abmatoran, they returned to the Colosseum in Metru Nui, where they were congratulated by a crowd of Matoran. They had awakened the Great Spirit. As Taragaduma congratulated them, a dark voice chills down their spine. It was the voice of Makuta Tiradax. He had taken control of Matanui's body when he was unconscious, and he sent the Mask of Life, which contained the spirit of Matanui, into space. Makuta ruled the universe. The end.